Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Wednesday drop-in mindfulness meditation from the Mindfulness Voyage community. Thank you so much for being here. This is Ted Meissner, and I'm pleased to be with you again for a little bit of live practice. Now, you may be watching this as a recording later. That's just fine. Just know that what we do in these sessions is before I start the recording, there's a few minutes of just getting to have a little bit of conversation and getting reacquainted. Then we'll have a lightly guided talk and a lightly guided meditation after that. The topics are new every week. The meditation is live. These are not scripted at all. At 25 after, we stop the recording, but then stick around for about half an hour to answer any questions you have. Work on any problems you may be encountering in your meditation practice. And even if you just want to listen in on that and hear what others are saying and sharing and learning, that's fine too, because that's where a lot of the learning practice comes from. It's from the community. It's from you. So our talk this week is about the size of the mindfulness community. This morning, I had the opportunity to speak with mindfulness teachers in several different parts of the world. And what was really an interesting thing, which has happened before in these conversations, is how consistent it is the issues, the challenges, and the wins are that we're finding within mindfulness. There are, of course, some things that we run into as teachers, but teachers are practitioners too. We are meditators, and sometimes we also fall off our practice wagon and get back on. We encounter difficulties. We have lives where there are losses and there are gains, joys and sadnesses. And what that looks like more and more is that, as I've said before many times in my classes and in my podcasts, mindfulness is a team sport. You're not alone in this. There are communities like this one and others where you can find supportive and friendly faces and voices. And even asynchronous chats can be helpful too. So just know that you are not alone in this. The field of mindfulness is lively and dynamic. And I'm excited about so many new things that are happening and things that are about to arrive within this field. So thank you for considering that. And with that, let's begin our practice for today. And one of the things that I encourage each time we do a practice, and you may want to consider this for yourself, is 3 steps before you really inhabit and experience whatever your chosen meditation is going to be. The first is to just arrive. The second is to check in and notice how you're doing. And the third is to establish and refresh your connection with home base. So you'll notice we're doing that today before we move into our regular practice, which today will be a listening practice. So let's take our meditation seats. And when I say meditation seat, I don't mean that you have to be seated. You can be standing, you can be lying down. It's not about doing it a particular right way. It's about noticing, how is the body being held in this moment? Now, for many of us, we are seated, and whether you are seated or standing, just noticing what the body is like and holding yourself upright. Invite a sense of alertness to the posture. That can sometimes help with things like sleepiness, if that creeps into your practice on a regular basis, as it does in mine. And you can have your eyes open or closed. What is most supportive for you in this moment? So our first step in this process is arriving. Arriving is showing up with a freshness to this moment. That arriving may happen again and again as the mind wanders and you welcome it back. That is a fresh moment of arriving. So inviting a little bit of curiosity. What does it feel like to arrive, to show up freshly in this moment? That's not a question where you have to find the right answer. It's an encouragement for curiosity in this moment. Noticing, acknowledging, and feeling how arriving shows up for you. Then our next step is a gentle check-in. Checking in is just noticing what's here right now, inside of us through our five senses, perhaps noticing what our emotions are like in this moment, noticing the surroundings, the environment we're in, internally and externally. You may choose to check in by noticing the five senses. What is seen right now, even if the eyes are closed? What is that perception like for you? Or hearing? We'll come back to that in a bit for today's practice. But just an initial gentle check-in. What sounds are showing up in this moment, if any? And your sense of touch as well, the surface of the skin, contact with the chair, a sense of temperature. And is that the same throughout the whole body, or a little colder in some places and a little warmer in others? Senses of smelling and tasting, even if you're not actively sniffing or tasting something right now, just checking in. And with that assignment of attending to each of those senses, maybe something shows up, however subtle it may be. And checking into what emotions and what thinking is like in this moment as well. Not having to control anything, but just noticing what's here. Narrowing focus just a little bit more, brightening that like an intentional spotlight. Bringing your awareness to your home base. Home base is that comfortable experience that's happening here now that you can feel, get to know. It may be something like sensations of taking in air and letting it go as you breathe in and out. Noticing where you feel that in your body the most vividly. Where is that spot? Maybe up by the nose or in the belly, or feeling the movement in your chest or back. And staying with that a little bit longer than mind wandering on its own. And noticing, is this a comfortable home base? A supportive experience that welcomes you back? If you find that the breath is not a comfortable tether to this moment, you can choose something else. It's not about the breath. It's about your quality of attention, focus. So it may be that breathing is not the right choice for you in this moment. Choose another sensation, maybe contact with the floor at your feet, chair or cushion on the backs of your legs, or maybe just the tips of your fingers. to take a few moments and get reacquainted with home base, what it might be right now. And if it's comfortable for you to turn up that sensitivity dial to 11, really feel your home base, inhabit that experience. And when you're ready, shifting attention to listening. And that doesn't mean the rest of your sensory input or thoughts drift away. It means that you're highlighting one sensation, that of receiving sounds or silence. So understanding you're still in an active environment. Thoughts, emotions, itches, aches may still show up. It's okay. It's an expected part of this practice. But tuning in as best you can to the soundscape where you are right now. Noticing, what is that sound environment like? Noticing as well as a particular sound makes itself known, what is responding to that like? Does it prompt some thoughts, images? And if you notice that, just doing your best to let that go and come back to receiving and experiencing the sound by itself as it is, without adding on to it, and just letting it be. Choosing to receive each sound moment openly. What's that like? It may be that there is noticing of sounds that are far away from a particular direction. Perhaps there are different volumes, loud or quiet. Maybe quick or short or long, persistent sounds. And sounds may be received that are close by in the same place where you are, a room, or if you're outside. And might that influence how the sound sounds? Occasionally, there may even be sounds within the body. And noticing those as well, not having to change anything. And refresh, listening, even if it's quiet. What is the quality of listening in this moment? And perhaps receiving sounds that have been there the whole time, but now are noticed and acknowledged. And as you listen more deeply, more widely, noticing too what it's like to receive these sounds from your home base, supporting you, because that's still here too. When you find attention has wandered off from listening practice, just acknowledge that. Acknowledge that that happens. It's part of the practice. And welcome attention back to listening. No need to give yourself a hard time about having wandering attention. That happens. This practice is returning and arriving and listening again. And shifting your attention once more, coming back fully to your home base. Getting reacquainted with that and inhabiting that again more fully for a few more moments. And when you're ready and the moment feels right to you, if you would like to open your eyes, if you've had them closed, and with even a little bit of stillness, some stiffness can also come in. So if you'd like to still listen to your body and maybe stretch in a way that might feel refreshing to you. And this arriving practice means this moment as well, arriving here too, but with that mindful presence that we've been practicing. This is something you can do at any time, tuning into what's here and noticing how you are can change the experience. Thank you everyone for being here today. I'm so glad you could join us and hope to see you again next week. Until then, remember, every moment you have a choice. Make it the best you can. See you next time.